I just want, can I do one announcement?
Sparsh?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, please begin.
Yes, Dhruvi, are we ready?
Yeah. Shubham, can we have the national anthem?
Sure.
I request everyone to please rise for the national anthem.
Sparsh, please sing the national anthem.
जनगण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल बंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मांगे गाहे तव जय गाथा जन गण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे
Thank you so much. न चोरहार्यं न राजहार्यं न भ्रातृभ्राजं न च भारकारी व्ययकृतय वर्धतैव नित्यं विद्याधनं सर्वधनप्रधानम्. It can neither be stolen by a thief nor can be confiscated. It is not divisible among brothers as a share in ancestral wealth. It is weightless. Unlike other possessions, the more you share, the more it increases. The wealth of knowledge is foremost among all wealths. Good morning to one and all present here. I, Sparsh, on behalf of Nari Gursahani Law College, welcomes you to this event that will be celebrating knowledge in this very form. It is indeed my honor to be hosting the 11th Dada Nari Gursahani Fest Vidhi Manthan. Dada Nari Gursahani's perseverance inspired us to continue our legacy in this competition. In the name of this legendary legal luminary, this time we have organized an elocution competition. Today, for the inaugural event, we are joined by an eclectic panel of guests who have come here to inspire the future in law. We are graced by the presence of our Chief Guest, Honorable Justice H.L. Gokhale. We also have with us Dr. Niranjan Hiranandani, Mr. Kishu Mansukhani, Mr. Anil Harish, and Mrs. Shahani as our guests of honor. This event is supported by Nari Gopi Hardasmar Gursahani Foundation and the gleeful presence of the Gursahani family. I now request our beloved Principal Ma'am, Dr. Nilima Chandiramani, to welcome our esteemed guests.
A very good morning and a warm welcome to everyone. Karamveer Dada Nari Gursani left behind a huge void when he left for his heavenly abode. We at Nari Gursani Law College endeavor to fill this void by celebrating his life and contributions to society by organizing Nari Gursani Festival every year in the month of September, which happens to be his birthday month. On this 11th Nari Gursani Festival, we have with us Honorable Justice Mr. Hemant Gokhale, the former distinguished Supreme Court judge. Sir left an indelible imprint on the minds of KC law students 15 years back, when he was the sitting judge of Bombay High Court and I was the principal of KC Law College. He had invited us to accompany him for a legal awareness camp, which was a very novel idea in those days. When we met him, that is my students and faculty met him in his chamber, the first thing he told us was, If by joining this camp, you think you are doing a great service to community, please don't join me. But if you feel you are getting an opportunity for experiential learning, you are most welcome. The second thing he told us was, you are not going to engage the villagers in law lectures, which will be delivered in English language. You will have to organize street plays, skits, dramas, poems, songs, posters, banners, and all other activities, and on legal issues and problems which are faced by the villagers. And these will be in Marathi or at the most in Hindi. But the best was yet to come. And that was on the day of the camp when we all assembled at the CST station. Sir surprised us by boarding the second class compartment with all the students and the faculty. We had yet to overcome our surprise when Sir was offered coconut water by his official, it being a very hot and a sultry day, and we had a long journey ahead of us. Sir told that official in Marathi, if you can offer this coconut water to all my girls and boys, I will accept it. Otherwise, I will be comfortable with plain water. There was a round of exclamation followed by applause when we all sipped our nariyal pani in the company of our distinguished judge. Sir, even today, the alumni of KC Law College remember these lessons which they learned from you. And today, students from all over the country, though limited in number, are going to learn even more. We are indeed fortunate, privileged, and honored to have you with us today, sir. The last 10 Vidhi Manthans, Nari Gursahani festival, have been graced by our dear Kishu Mansukhani, sir, the trustee and the president of HSNC board, and Miss Shakuntala Gursahani, daughter of Dada Nari Gursahani. They never failed us. Whether it was the torrential rains or the Ganpati festival celebrations, or it was the traffic snarls on the highway, or the bumpy and the long drive along the congested lanes of Ulhasnagar. They stood by us like the rock of Gibraltar. It is wonderful to have both of them today with us on this virtual platform, because no Nari Gursahani festival can ever be complete without both of them. We always desired, earnestly desired all these years to have Mr. Anil Harish, trustee and past president of HSNC board, and one of the most illustrious tax lawyers in the country, to grace at least one Nari Gursahani festival. He is closely connected and linked to Dada Nari Gursahani, and he, along with Shakuntala Gursahani, have generously sponsored this event year after year. But as the saying goes, man proposes, God disposes. And for one or the other reason, we could not have Mr. Anil Harish at Ulhasnagar. But today, Sir has made it up. He is accompanied by his wife, Hani Harish, who is the second daughter of Dada Nari Gursahani, and they are accompanied by the grandchildren of Dada Nari Gursahani, that is Rishika and Adhiraj. And Adhiraj is accompanied by his wife, Mitali, and the great-grandson of Dada Nari Gursahani, our little charming prince, Arman. The presence of Mr. Anil Harish, sir, along with the entire Gursahani family, have made this inaugural event a very unique and a memorial one. We also have with us the illustrious Dr. Niranjan Hiranandani, the Honorable Provost of the newly born HSNC University, and the President and the Trustee and the past President of HSNC University. It is Dr. Niranjan who has initiated us to all this online learning, and he continues to do so till date. Even this morning, we had a lesson from him as to how collaboration in education can catapult thinking and ideas which may initially appear even crazy. Today, the college could undertake an event of this magnitude only and only because of him. This online learning, which has been initiated by Sir, has been supplemented and complemented and liberally sprinkled with rich human values by none other than our gracious, elegant, and learned trustee, Mrs. Maya Shahani. We are delighted to have with us Dr. Niranjan Hiranandani, Mrs. Maya Shahani, the members and the principals of the HSNC board, and the Canadian educators who are going to join us in the evening for the technical session. We are also happy to have with us 3 or 4 wonderful students of HR College who have helped us in hosting this event: Dhruvi, Shubham, Harsh, and Kanish. Thank you very much for all the support that you have given us. And above all, I have to extend a warm welcome to all the patient and tolerant participants who have joined from every nook and corner of the country. The moment we posted this event on Loctopus, we were literally inundated with registrations, and we were compelled to bring down the number of 162 to a manageable 30. I'm sure all the participants, whether they win the cash prizes or not, I'm certain they will carry home rich learning, which will be added by or spiced by cross-fertilization of ideas. Once again, a warm welcome to everyone, and thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. I now take this blissful opportunity to bestow the encomiums of our beloved Dada Nari Gursahani. Words are inadequate to describe this remarkable personality who was an institution in himself. This panegyric cannot bring justice to someone who was in one moment so many things: a legal luminary, a crusader of downtrodden, the underprivileged, a beacon of hope, and a messiah of Sindhi community. Yet, an humble attempt is being made to put in words his legacy so as to inspire others. Dada Nari Gursahani was born on 2nd September 1927 in Nawab Shah, Sindh. His father was a very respected and learned advocate. Academically, he was a very bright and active student. It was his good fortune to have an ideal teacher who played a huge role in shaping Dada's destiny to the right path. At the tender age of 14, he was imprisoned for his anti-imperialist activities under the Quit India movement, which was during that time also held in Sindh. Dada passed his LLB from Ferguson Law College in Pune. A giant among lawyers, Dada Nari Gursahani was a complete lawyer, well versed with practically all fields of law. Dada was not only a good orator, but was equally good at his pen. No wonder representations drafted by him carried weight and helped solve so many problems of the needy, even at the level of High Court and Supreme Court. For Lok Bhrata, as he was called by many, no nook or corner of the country was too far and no rehabilitation impossible, where his distressed, dispersed, and dislocated community required his help. As a result of the partition, lakhs of Sindhis left their motherland Sindh and migrated to India. They were accommodated in different military camps as refugees. Dada's spiritual guide, Bhai Bhagwan Das, inspired him to do social service, and thus he rendered unconditional seva to them. Dada enjoyed august positions in innumerable institutions, associations, organizations. The list is inexhaustible. Dada Nari Gursahani was an advisor for the legal affairs to the state government, leader for the Maharashtra State and Bombay High Court, and a member of the State Board for Linguistic and Religious Minority constituted by the government of Maharashtra. He was honored the Samman Patra by the CM of Maharashtra. A silver salver was also presented to him by the CM of Maharashtra on the occasion of silver jubilee of India's independence. An eminent advocate, patriot, fearless freedom fighter, a leader to the entire Sindhi community, Dada Nari Gursahani is the first Sindhi who was awarded a cash prize worth rupees 2 lakhs and a silver plate by Har Gobind Foundation in recognition of his dedicated, devoted service to the community. A truly inspirational human being, saint for some, hero for others, lives on in our hearts forever. I am pretty sure that he might be somewhere keeping a divine watch on all of us. We seek your blessings, Dada, especially today. Humbly bowing down to him, I now request all of you all to thank him and keep him in our memories. I now will be introducing Justice H.L. Gokhale, humbly bowing down to His Eminence also. It is always a challenge to bestow the encomium of any such personality who has so much to their credit, simply because words do no justice to their achievements. Honorable retired Justice Hemant Lakshman Gokhale is a former judge of the Supreme Court of India. Sir is the former Chief Justice of Madras and Allahabad High Court. Born in Baroda on 10 in 1949, Sir is an eminent face in the name of law, justice, and the judicial establishment. Sir gave his entire life to fight for the needy by becoming a channel and instrument of change. His awe-inspiring journey of a young feisty boy from Dadar with a spark in his eyes who went on to serve as a judge of the Apex Court is as follows. Sir did his schooling from Bal Mohan Vidya Mandir and went to Ram Narayan Ruya College, Government Law College, and the University of Mumbai, where he obtained degrees of MA with Economics and Political Science, LLM with Constitutional and International Law. Sir also obtained first rank at the LLM examination in the University of Mumbai. Justice Gokhale enrolled himself as an advocate with the Bar Council of Maharashtra in the year 1973. Sir practiced in civil, constitution, labor, and service laws and specialized in industrial and service matters. He went on to become an assistant government pleader to the state of Maharashtra in the Bombay High Court during 1984 to 1989. It is said that the best in all facets are considered when the decisions are made from elevating from the bar to bench. And thus, our revered Sir was appointed as an additional judge of the Bombay High Court in 1994. Subsequently, he was appointed as a permanent judge of the Gujarat High Court in 1995. Later, Sir was transferred back to Bombay High Court, where he eventually went on to become an acting Chief Justice of the Bombay High Court in 2007. By and by, he was appointed as a Chief Justice of Allahabad High Court in 2007, and then transferred to the Madras High Court in 2009. On the glorious day of 30th April 2010, Justice Gokhale was elevated to the Supreme Court of India. As I said earlier, Vyaya Krite Vardhate Vanityam Vidyadhanam Sarvadhana Pradhanam. Knowledge grows manifolds when you start sharing. Thus, we are pleased to know that apart from his illustrious career in judiciary, Sir has also shared his immense knowledge with the budding lawyers when he worked as a part-time professor of law at Government Law College during 1977 and 84. Even after his retirement, Sir hasn't let his oars to rest. His zest and dedication to become a channel to deliver justice and maintain incorruptibility everywhere has made him the administrator of the Mumbai Cricket Association, where Sir regulates the functioning of the state cricket body. Sir, your presence here is proof that nothing can stop you. And people like you who want to be the change that they want to see, it is outstanding, Sir, that your journey is so illustrious. It is a reminder to all of us that sky is the limit. Thank you so much, sir, for gracing this occasion today. May we please hear some notable words from you.
Dhruvi, kindly unmute, sir.
Namaskar. Do you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yes. The trustees of the Hyderabad Sindh National Collegiate Board, the provost, Mr. Hiranandani, president, Mr. Mansukhani, Mr. Anil Harish, Srimati Maya Shahani, and principal Nilima Chandiramani, professors, and dear students. We are meeting this morning for the Vidhi Manthan, the elocution organized by the Nari Gursahani Law College. Principal Chandiramani has been very kind to me by inviting to inaugurate this Vidhi Manthan. It is a great honor done to me. She has spoken so many good things about me. I do not know whether I deserve all that, but I am extremely grateful to her. This occasion has given me the opportunity to pay my tribute to late Sri Nari Gursahani, a senior advocate of Bombay High Court. He was much senior to me, and yet I had the good fortune to know him. He had to struggle as a person uprooted by the partition of India, but was always ready to help any person who was in difficulty. This college in Ulhasnagar is rightly named after him because as a lawyer, he took up the causes of the citizens of Ulhasnagar coming to him with their difficulties. He used to argue forcibly and was always well prepared in his preparations. Lawyers and judges held him in great esteem. Today there is going to be an elocution competition. 3 subjects have been selected. One is on pandemic and marginalized communities. Second is on consensual sex. And the third is on acceptance of persons of diverse sexual orientations. I'm not going to say anything on these 3 topics because it is for the participants to deal with those subjects. But I'm going to tell you about the art of participating in an elocution competition and in a debate. Firstly, we must understand the difference between a debate and an elocution. In debate, you are given a proposition and you are either in support of it or you are against it. There you have to meet the points raised by the other side. Here the role is almost like that of a lawyer dealing with the arguments of the other side. In an elocution, it is not so. There is a topic and there are many persons who are going to speak. Here I am told today some 30 participants are going to be there. So probably there will be 10 speakers on each subject. Suppose there are 10 speakers on a subject in a competition, and you could be the first speaker, you could be the 5th speaker, or you could be the 10th speaker. Now that depends on the lots that are drawn. If you are the first or the second speaker, no difficulty, because you are prepared well and you are going to speak on whatever you have prepared on something which is being heard for the first time. And if you are prepared well, it will reach the judges. If you are 5th or 6th, much of your points are already stated. And if you are the last, the task is quite difficult. By that time, the judges have already heard practically everything on the subject. And if you say the same thing again and again, it will not have the necessary impact. I'll tell you one interesting anecdote. In the High Court, as also in the Supreme Court, when there is a demise of a judge or a senior advocate, there is a reference. There are the speakers from various bar associations. Now, say in Bombay High Court, there are speakers, there is a person representing the Advocates Association of Western India. Then there is a speaker representing the Bombay Bar Association. And now every speaker starts by saying that so-and-so was born on such and such a date. He graduated from this college. He started practicing in this field. Then he became a judge on a particular date. Or as a lawyer, he argued. So everybody is saying the same thing. And last but not the least is the Chief Justice to speak. So for the Chief Justice, it is a great job to say something different. So similarly here, if you are the 10th speaker, you have to be very careful. Therefore, in an elocution, and for that matter, even in a debate, you must have as much material as possible. You must make notes when other speakers are speaking. Find out if any of them have made any mistakes, any erroneous statements are made, or what remains to be stated, and then concentrate on that aspect. You may read something new in today's newspapers or yesterday's newspapers on the very subject, which others may not have noted. That you may pick up in your speech. Or there could be a humorous anecdote. Reserve it in your speech, for your speech. The judges know that you are the 5th or the 6th or the 10th speaker. They are sympathetic. They know that you have come for the elocution, and therefore, but then at the same time, you have to see that you have to carry the day. I'm giving all these ideas since I had also participated in elocution and debating competitions and won prizes as well. In a prestigious debating competition in Pune, named after late Justice Ranade, I was a participant. There were, that was sometimes in 69 or 70, 68 or 79. And there were 60 or 70 participants, and I was the last one. Can you imagine what plight must have been mine? And well, the tips that I have given you, I followed them, and I got the first rank. So therefore, participants in the elocution competition must take note of this, that well, when you are going to be the last speaker, it should not become boring, it should not become repetitive, and then only you will carry the day. Dear law students, some of you will become arguing lawyers. You will be facing judges and worthy opponents. The skill acquired through elocution and debates and moot courts will always help you in the long run. With these few words, I declare that the Vidhi Manthan, the elocution competition, is open. I wish the students all the best and convey my gratitude to authorities of the Hyderabad Sindh Collegiate Board and particularly principal of this college for inviting me and giving this opportunity to speak to the young students and also pay my tribute to Nari Gursahani, the senior advocate, who contributed so much to the upcoming lawyers like me. And therefore, this opportunity gives me to pay my tribute to him as well. Thank you very much and wish you all the best once again. Jai Hind.
Thank you. Thank you so much, sir, for these inspiring words. I am pretty sure that all the participants have taken a note of how to go about with the competition and still, even being the last participant, still shine through the competition. Thank you so much, sir, for your guidance today. Most respectfully, I will now introduce our guests of honor. I would like to begin with Dr. Niranjan Hiranandani. It is indeed my privilege to introduce Dr. Niranjan Hiranandani. I have a really candid memory of Sir's. He had come to our college and decided to address a few students. And his journey itself is so glorious, but Sir insisted on not taking it seriously. Sir insisted that there is so much more that he can and wants to do. For the unknown, Niranjan Sir is the trustee and past president of Hyderabad Sindh National Collegiate Board, which runs 17 colleges and 8 schools across Mumbai. And he's also the president of Associated Chambers of Commerce and Industry and the national president for the National Real Estate Development Council, functioning under the Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs. Born in the family of legendary Padma Bhushan ENT specialist Dr. L.H. Hiranandani, Sir kept on his legacy of his father. He is an alumnus of the Campion School of Mumbai and a rank holder in commerce from the Mumbai University. He completed his FCA from the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India and has been conferred a doctoral degree in management for his thesis on real estate. Early on, Dr. Hiranandani began his career as a professional in a CA institute, followed by a short span of experience in textile industry. The intellectual and entrepreneurship skill gave him the vision to look beyond this, and then he stepped into the real estate industry. Dr. Hiranandani is the co-founder and managing director at Hiranandani Group. Remarkably, Dr. Hiranandani is a first-generation entrepreneur, and his hard work and dedication has made him a legend in the field of real estate. Not just that, he is a globally renowned he's globally renowned as a developer because of his body of work. For example, redefining the skyline of Mumbai, delivering globally landmark projects like the Hiranandani Garden at Powai, and many, many others. Sir has played leadership role in various industry bodies and contributed vastly to the policy framing township developments through his enriched and vast experience. Yet, with little that I've heard him, it seems that Sir's zest for life, willingness to serve the society, and belief in his prowess makes him do a lot more. Which reminds me of the most recent achievement, the HSNC University of Mumbai, of which Sir is the provost. A collective dream of all trustees realized by the hard work of each and every member of the HSNC board. I will always remember that speech where Sir shared his life mantra and said, "Do your best, then do better than the best." Sir is truly an inspiration and an excellent example of walking the talk. Thank you so much, Sir, for gracing this occasion. Now I request Sir to please share some thoughts.
Thank you very much, Sparsh, for the very generous introduction. A bit too long, but thank you very much for it's quite overwhelming. I'm also terribly delighted, ecstatic, and happy to be here in the presence of Honorable Justice Gokhale Sahib. Sir, I have the highest regard and respects for you, and I'm so delighted that you've been able to spare time to come here today on this virtual conference of the program for Dada Nari Gursahani, my godfather, my teacher, my guide, my mentor, a person who was generous to me personally, to the institution of the Hyderabad Sindh Collegiate Board, looked after all our matters of the board with kindness, generosity, gave time to the board, attended so many of the cases which were there in the courts in terms of the problems that the colleges had, looked after the issues of the minority of Sindhis which had trouble, went out of his way at many times to go to fight for small shopkeepers whose shops were to be closed down, destroyed by actions which were illegal, and supported the community beyond imagination. His generosity for the poor, his kindness to all, each and every one of us. I'm glad that I'm being able to address all the students here today. A mentor, I wish each one of you would have had the opportunity of him being present here today to guide you as Justice Gokhale Sahab has done. Two aspects of his introduction touched me tremendously. One was the story about the fact about his train journey and his willingness to be part of the students. And second, to come down and tell us today how we could improve our elocution stuff. Sir, I wish I had the opportunity to hear you. When I was in my colleges, my elocution would have been much better, and I would have won prizes in elocution, which I missed simply because you were not there to guide us in terms of it, because I unfortunately was the 12th speaker in one of the competition, but I did not win the prize because I didn't have the tips that you gave here to the students. So thank you for being such an illustrious Supreme Court judge, and at the same time being able to mentor our students of Nari Gursahani College. You all are very lucky. Thank you, Nilima Chandiramani, for inviting and keeping the memory of Dada alive in this wonderful fashion, and really grateful for the wonderful work that you have doing in Nari Gursahani Law College, and also the earlier experience that you did with our KC College, Law College, of which you were earlier the principal, and earlier you were the dean in the University of Mumbai, and you agreed to shift and come over to our KC College and subsequently to the Nari Gursahani College, which we have. I must be grateful to all my president, Mr. Kishu Mansukhani, my trustees, Anil, Harish, and Shahani, for all the support that has been given to the board and to the university and all the activities that we are here today. All the family members of Gursahani family, oh, they are very close, very loving, very kind, very generous, and each one of them, whether it is Shakuntala, whether it is Honey, whether it's the lovely grandchildren, all of them are really wonderful people, and really they have taken up a wonderful good character which actually has been mentored and brought down from Dada Nari Gursahani, whom I can never forget of all the illustrious wonderful work that he has done. To the students of Nari Gursahani Law College, you have a wonderful mentor in terms of the name of the college itself. Something you can always be proud of. And as Justice Gokhale has already mentioned, that a person of great standing and position that has happened, and also what your principal just mentioned to you of the goodness of the person that you have. When you have name of such person, it makes a world of the difference in terms of how you have to keep up the pride and name of your college, because it is the name of a wonderful human being besides being an illustrious lawyer. That is the reason why it is wonderful to be participant in this inauguration. I wish that all of you take the tips which Justice Gokhale Sahab has just given to you, and the guidance which Nilima Chandiramani, your principal, constantly gives to you. You will be wonderful lawyers and you will have a great future, both in the judicial field and in society, when you give back to society in the same way that Mr. Nari Gursahani did in his lifetime of great, wonderful generosity of time and of in every aspect of life, that he was a giver. So thank you very much for giving me this opportunity, Principal Chandiramani, and to all the other people who are here today. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much, sir. We also have with us Mr. Anil Harish, the trustee and former president of HSNC board. To have Anil sir on this day is really special for all of us. This event celebrates Dada Nari, and sir is knit to him with a thread of love, adoration, and family. Mr. Anil Harish is a partner of the law firm DM Harish and Company, which was founded by his father, late Mr. DM Harish. Mr. Anil Harish's practice includes many diverse areas of law, including property, foreign investments, trusts, will, and Indian and international taxation. He is the chairman of the subcommittee of CII on reform of land laws and was Vice President of Society of Indian Law Firms and was on the Managing Committee of Indian Merchants Chamber, Chamber of Tax Consultants and ITAT Bar Association. Sir has been ranked by the prestigious legal directory of chambers and partners as a leading tax lawyer. Mr. Harish has authored many articles which have been published in the Times of India, Indian Express, Hindustan Times, and several professional journals. He is a director of several prestigious public limited companies in India. He's involved with several educational and charitable trusts, and he was the president of the Hyderabad Sindh National Collegiate Board, which runs more than 25 educational institutions and has about 45,000 students. Sir has given several professional speeches at events such as the India Calling Summit in Brussels, Belgium, organized by the Indian Merchants Chamber. He has also addressed audiences in London, Dubai, Doha, Muscat, and Jakarta, and many seminars in India. He's a regular speaker on the annual budget. To sum up in few words, I'd say that Sir is inspiring, ingenious, adroit, dynamic, and compassionate. As law students, we always look up to Sir and his achievements, his immense knowledge, and the humility with which he carries all of it. Thank you so much, Sir, for lending your support always in every form possible. Sir, may we please hear from you.
Thank you. Honorable Justice Mr. Gokhale, distinguished trustees, professors, and friends. I am very pleased to be here for the inauguration of the Vidhi Manthan Fest. Mr. Nari Gursahani was a wonderful and great man and lawyer. All those who heard him in court remember his rich, strong voice and his powerful and compelling advocacy and total commitment to his clients. Testimony to his stature as a lawyer is the fact that he was president of the Advocates Association of Western India. But there was much more to Mr. Nari Gursahani, and this was so well captured by Dada Jashan Vaswani when he referred to Mr. Gursahani as Lok Bhrata, brother of the people. And Dada Jashan went on to say that what we must learn from Mr. Gursahani is to do your duty and a little more, because this is always what he did. He was always so helpful, as so many have mentioned earlier, and he really worked hard, pushed the limits for everything that he could do, mainly to help others, whether they were his clients or his friends or just anyone who came to him for help. And of course, he was the most loving person, in addition to being so lovable himself. Ladies and gentlemen, Nari Gursahani Law College in just a few years has become a very good college and an institute of learning. I am so grateful to Dr. Nilima Chandiramani, who has so ably led the college's principal for a substantial part of its existence, and that this Vidhi Manthan Fest is held every year with so many participants from so many colleges. This is indeed a great honor for all of us to be able to associate with Mr. Gursahani's name and to be able to do something good in his memory. I'm very grateful to Honorable Mr. Justice Gokhale for his wonderful words, from which we have learned so much about the importance of hard work and preparation, and about the practical aspects of advocacy and of life, and how important it is to do something different, to be able to speak differently, to be able to make a mark, and to have really a unique selling proposition in everything that one says. Thank you very much, Honorable Mr. Justice Gokhale. We are very pleased that you've come here and spent so much time with this institution and with the other colleges of our board in the past. And we look forward to hearing from you again in the future. The HSNC board is an amazing institution. More than 70 years old, it defies normal practice and has not taken capitation fees at all, and yet has developed into a huge board, one of the largest in Maharashtra, and now has one of the few new cluster universities in India. This is all thanks to the visionaries, the founders, the past and the present trustees being Mr. Kishu Mansukhani, Dr. Niranjan Hiranandani, Mrs. Maya Shahani, and Mr. Lal Chelaram, and the very committed principals, staff, and students over these years. Seeing Nari Gursahani Law College and the other colleges of the board doing so well and imparting education to so many persons is indeed very satisfying. I'm sure that they will continue to do great work, and I wish the college and the students and the professors all the best, and also to all the participants in this festival. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. We also have with us Dr. Kishu Mansukhani, the trustee and president of HSNC board. I am delighted to introduce our beloved Kishu, sir. Sir has always had the back of our college and has always marked his encouraging presence for the Vidhi Manthan event. Dr. Kishu Mansukhani is the president of HSNC board. His family has been associated with this board from the inception in Sindh and has contributed to the growth of this board substantially. Srimati Chandibai Himmatmal Mansukhani College, named after his grandmother, is the largest college in the University of Mumbai. His family has also contributed for the establishment of various libraries, auditoriums, and primary and secondary schools of the HSNC board, including giving the land for the CHM campus. On the work front, Sir was a member of a small group to establish exports for Tata Group, Telco Exports, which later on became the Tata Exports. He was working with the Tata Engineering Company in senior capacity. It is rightly said that great work follows appreciation, and thus, in recognition of his distinguished work in marketing of the Tata Mercedes-Benz products, he was given a citation by the German Chamber of Commerce. He is also a recipient of awards from President of Uganda and Seychelles. In the words of Swami Vivekananda, to find God or peace, serve man. Dr. Mansukhani has another inspiring facet as he is actively involved in social and humanitarian activities in India and heads the charitable trusts which have over the period of a quarter century assisted in rehabilitating many individuals and families through education. Sir is also associated with the Sadhu Vaswani mission and has felicitated to establish KKI Institute Pune, which does research in the field and has conducted nearly 2 lakh operations free of cost in Maharashtra and surrounding areas also. Due to his social and humanitarian work, his idol, Dada Vaswani, complimented him by writing to him that God needs instruments of help and healing in this world of tragedy and tears. I love to think of you as one of such instruments. Sir is that righteous human who believes in passing it on. He's so humane and kind that even after he's done correcting you, you'll hardly believe that he was strict. He's also that person who will be the first to pat your back when you do something good. He might also ask you to fold up your speech and give it to him after you're done for his granddaughter. That is one of my anecdotes. Sir's nature is truly comeliest of all, and these anecdotes that I have given can only reiterate that fact. We are really obliged by your encouraging presence, sir. Sir, please address us.
Very good morning to all of you. Thank you for this exaggerated introduction. Our Honorable Justice Gokhale, my colleagues, Niranjan, Hiranandani, Anil, Mrs. Anil, and the three generation of Anil family, Maya Shahani, Principal Nilima Chandirabani, teaching, non-teaching staff, and the other guests. It's nice to be with you on the 11th Monday college function. Nari Gursahani was an extraordinary person. I had a good fortune of spending 1 week with him in 2001 earthquake. We both were sharing a room in Gandhidham, and it was a privilege to be in the same room, get up in the morning, look after all the victims, come back, again go the evening. We had gone there with the Sadhu Vaswani mission to help out the victims. In that one period, 1 week, I learned so much about him. I could never forget. This will be the best time I ever spent in my life with a gentleman like Nari Hiranandani. Talking about him, we all know that he was a young rebel. He was took active part in Quit India movement. He also told me that while he was locked up in the jail, he had to appear for certain exams. So they released him on a bail. After he gave his exams, they put him back in the jail. After partition, he came here, and as everybody has mentioned, how he has been contributing to the community and the other people to bring them up. He was our member of the board, and his most valuable, important contribution to the board was that he fought very hard for the minority in Supreme Court. And we are very thankful to him. It will be always be remembered that the minority status of board was given only because of Nari Gursahani's help. He resigned, look at his ethics. He resigned from the board because he felt strongly that it's not ethical for him to plead for the board in the courts and continue to be a member of the board. He resigned from the board, our board's membership. We all feel that if he had accepted the central government offers or the other offers he was being given time to time, he perhaps would have wound up as becoming a Chief Justice of High Court or the member of the Supreme Court. Nari Gursahani was the icon of our time, was a noble soul who fought against the injustice and continued fighting for all he breathed for his last. Our board will always remain indebted to him for the services he so generously rendered board and our institution. God bless. Jai Hind, Jai Jhulelal. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much, sir. We have with us Mrs. Maya Shahani, the trustee of HSNC board. With utmost joy, I take this opportunity to introduce such a personality who with her poised persona has dared to be the change she wanted to see. Her awe-inspiring persona is a motivation for men as equally as it is for women. Mrs. Maya Shahani is a governing board member and trustee of the HSNC board and the chairperson of the SAGE Foundation. She is also the chairperson of Thadomal Shahani Center for Management, the Business School of Future, which imparts global quality management education and focuses on creating heart-centered business leaders. CFM has recently won the DNA Award for the Best Business School for Industry Academia Linkages. Ma'am is the trustee of Thadomal Shahani Trust, chairperson of Global Dialogue Foundation, and founder trustee of Women's Movement for Peace and Prosperity under the Aegis of Times Foundation. She's also the education board member of Sadhu Vaswani Mission and Priyadarshini Academy, patron of Cancer Patients Aid Association, and governing board member of the Bombay Mothers and Children Welfare Society, as well as the chairperson of the Justice H.K. Chainani Elders Home. Her work is a beautiful amalgamation of work and service, profession and avocation. No doubt, Mrs. Shahani fulfills her duty with compassion, love, and commitment. Women's rights activist Kavita Ramdas once stated that we need women who are so strong, they can be gentle, so educated, they can be humble, so fierce that they can be compassionate, so passionate that they can be rational, so disciplined that they can be free. Looking at Maya ma'am, her journey, her achievements, every word here has been realized. We are honored to have ma'am with us today. Madam, please inspire us with your kind words.
thank you so much for this beautiful introduction. And unfortunately, I'm the last speaker. So throughout the talks, I was wondering how I could hold Justice Gokhale's attention. It's going to be very difficult for me after the illustrious speakers had before me. And as the only lady trustee of the board, I thought I could bank on my glamour quotient, but I wouldn't like to do that because this is not how women should be remembered. Women, like men, should be remembered for their content and what they have to offer to the world. So I would like to be different in a way, and yet, you know, how do I hold your attention, Justice Gokhale? So first of all, you know, I would like to thank Dr. Nilima for inviting us for this program, because I feel privileged to attend the 11th NG Fest Vidhi Manthan Elocution competition by the Law College in the revered memory of the legendary Supreme Court advocate and humanist Nari Gursahani, who we all admired. But Dr. Nilima, I would like to be different. As one woman to the other, I would like to shine the light on you also, because you know, I Googled you just yesterday. In spite of knowing you for so many years, I didn't know that you were, you know, so capable and so such a thorough professional. I learned so many things about you just yesterday. So I would like to discuss this with the others so that they know what kind of principle we have in the Nari Gursahani Law College. Professor Dr. Nilima Chandiramani has taught law at all the 3 law colleges in South Mumbai before joining the Department of Law, University of Mumbai. We are so lucky to have her here now with us because she had to be coaxed into coming here, but she's doing such a marvelous job. She has participated in innumerable national conferences and even presented papers in international conferences at Beijing, Vienna, Geneva, Tokyo, Hiroshima, and Washington, DC. She has delivered lectures at universities and institutions in Europe and the Far East. Her name was recommended for biographical inclusion in the 8th edition of the prestigious International Directory of Distinguished Leadership, and she has been nominated for the American Biographical Institute Awards. Her published works include several articles in national and international journals and periodicals, and she's written books on the law of contract, carriage of goods by sea and multimodal transport, the Companies Act, and Introduction, and World Trade Organization and Globalization, an Indian Overview, yet another book, A Guide to Customs Act in 1962, and a book on Negotiable Instruments Act basic concepts. The reason why I wanted to focus the light on you, Dr. Nilima, is that you are such a low-key person, but interacting with you, I know you're a no-nonsense person. You call a spade, and whenever you promise, you deliver. We are so proud of having you as our principal. And the topics you have selected for today need to be discussed. So I'm going to be different from the other speakers again by discussing these topics because these are burning issues. I'm personally working on unity and diversity as a vice chairperson of Global Dialogue Foundation, which in collaboration with the UN attempts to bring all cultures and communities together through love, understanding, and dialogue, particularly the marginalized communities. We already have more than 25 interns from our HSNC campuses who are helping the Global Dialogue Foundation in setting up unity and diversity campuses and unity and diversity companies, starting from India and then taking it to a global level where they will work with the UN as Global Dialogue Foundation has an ECOSOC consultative status with the UN. As mentioned earlier, I'm also working on women's empowerment as a founder trustee of the Women's Movement for Peace and Prosperity, started by Indu Jain of the Times Foundation. She believed that peace and prosperity were interlinked, as peace cannot exist without prosperity, and prosperity cannot exist without peace. And it is the women who can make this possible through the power of the feminine and the compassion that they hold within their hearts. So we would be committing a grave error if we marginalize women. Apart from women, marginalized groups such as immigrants, the differently abled, sexual and religious minorities, marginalized cultures and castes exist nearly everywhere. They are people who, for whatever reason, are denied involvement in mainstream economic, political, cultural, and social activities. Targeting or ignoring any group can ultimately affect the whole society because it leads to stress, anxiety, anger, or depression. Grievances that remain unaddressed can also cause fires of civil unrest and violence that could devastate the entire community. We have the current example of Black Lives Matter. When we combine that discrimination with a crackdown on freedom of expression so that marginalized groups have no ability to peacefully voice their grievances, then what space do we leave for citizens to protest or raise their concerns? This is where the judiciary should come in. The best way we can help end exclusion and isolations is to work on being a strong ally. That means educating ourselves on the privileges our own group enjoys to better understand the perspectives of members of marginalized communities. Here are 5 things we can do to be allies with marginalized groups. And I know about it because I'm actually working on all these areas with the Global Dialogue Foundation. So I speak from experience. So we should start paying attention to what they say. Generally, we don't. Most people already know we need to avoid generalization and stereotypes, but most of us are still guilty of using language that causes offense. Even if we don't mean to, we don't realize it, but in many ways we hurt them. Commonly used words like gay, crazy, or lame are actually offensive and derogatory. We should be willing to accept correction. If we are wrong, we should humbly say, yes, we are wrong, because even the most well-meaning people make mistakes and have misunderstandings about others. When someone points out your errors, offer a sincere apology and be ready to learn from the experience. We learned about humility from Justice Gokhale. I was so touched when Dr. Nilima related her experiences in the train. And, I used to be scared of judges, but not anymore, because I realized judges can also be human. So we will earn much more respect. We'll earn much more respect in responding with defensiveness or anger. We need to be human. So we should be intolerant of intolerance. Are you willing to confront derogatory and hateful speech online? Quite often we keep quiet. We say, what's it to do with me? And we keep quiet. What if the person is a friend or relative? We try to defend him. The risk of staying silent is sending the message that discrimination and intolerance are values that you're willing to tolerate, and it should not be so. When I first joined Global Dialogue Foundation, I was also nervous and scared. I said, what about these, the mullahs and people who are so, there are divisive forces in our community, in our society, we know that. But if we reach out to everyone with love, compassion, and understanding, great tempers get calmed, and we can soothe ruffled feathers. And I believe in it because I'll give you a personal example. When I was working with the Times of India group, Anjuman Islam School was just across the road from us. And for many years, they were enemies. They refused to talk to each other just because of a simple problem like a parking issue. There was just a narrow lane dividing the two institutes, and they were fighting on parking. So Ram Maheshwari, who was the general manager then, he said, Dr. Ishak Jhamkanwala was the president of Anjuman Islam School then. He said, he's a horrible person, I'll never talk to him. But I knew Dr. Ishak Jhamkanwala because we were running the elders' home, and he had come once to visit us. And he said, Mrs. Shahani, when I become old, I'll come and live in your elders' home. And I realized what a humane person he was. So I told Mr. Ram Maheshwari, it's so simple to make friends. So he said, how? I'll never talk to that person. So I said, well, you just walk across the road, go up, shake hands with him and smile. It's so easy as that. And finally, I convinced him to do that. And then they became the best of friends. Dr. Jhamkanwala is no more with us, but Dr. Kazi, who's the current president, he's one of the best friends of Mr. Maheshwari. So bridges can be built, and you can cross bridges and reach out to the others. So we should seek out to marginalized voices and perspectives. Go online and look for activists, bloggers, authors, artists, and other voices from these communities. Their personal stories and experiences will greatly inform your point of view. If you have the opportunity to spend time with someone from a marginalized group, your most important job is to listen to them and learn. We don't have this sense of empathy. This is what we should train our students to do. And we should educate our own community. Your voice is the most effective within your own group, since you are in the best position to confront its stereotypes and misunderstandings, some of which you may have overcome yourself. You also have a special access to them as an audience that other communities do not. Use it. I'll tell you another story. When Principal Kunnani started the National College, he had come as a refugee and he was thrown out by the Muslim community, but he didn't share, he didn't have any rancor or ill feeling in his heart. And the first student he admitted in National College was a Muslim. We should all be like that. We should look up to his values and his sense of justice and fair play. I remember, I was born in Karachi. So I'm a Hindu, born in a Muslim country, now Muslim. It was undivided India then. We were thrown out from there as refugees, but it was a Muslim family that saved my father. And if it wasn't for that family, I would not have had a father taking care of me. So how can I, have any ill feelings for any community? I've been taught by Christian nuns, so I still pray to Jesus and Mary. So quite often I keep wondering, what am I? I mean, am I Hindu, Muslim, or Christian? What am I? I just tell myself I'm a human being and I strive to be a good human being. So we should all take our pledge today for how you will help end violence against the marginalized groups. Then coming to the specific topic of today, as a tolerant community, are we ready to accept sexual minorities? There are two new measures of LGBT inclusion. One is the Global Acceptance Index, and the second is the Legal Environment Index. We have to investigate whether there is a connection between the level of acceptance of LGBT people and the level of inclusiveness in the laws of 144 countries around the world. I'm talking about this because we have Justice Gokhale with us. So I feel that the more stringent our laws are, there's more intolerance. The more relaxed our laws are, the more compassionate our laws are, there's more tolerance. So is there a connection between the level of acceptance of lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender people and the level of inclusiveness of a country's laws? Democracies with a commitment to a free press and the rule of law have the strongest relationship between acceptance and legal inclusion. And acceptance is defined as the extent to which LGBT people are seen by individuals in society in ways that are positive and inclusive, both with respect to individual opinions about LGBT people and with regard to an individual's position on LGBT policy. The LGBT Global Acceptance Index, which is called GAI, has been developed using public opinion data to score each country's level of acceptance based on a range of 0 to 10. So we should see where India stands in this range. Then legal LGBT inclusiveness is defined as the extent to which a country's legal standards recognize and protect the rights of LGBT people. The Legal Environment Index, which is LEI, has been developed to measure the level of legal inclusiveness each year in each country. Based on this data, each country is assigned a policy environment rating from 1 to 5 each year. So maybe Justice Gokhale could tell us where India stands in this ratio. As the laws of each country evolve from no inclusion to fuller inclusion, the legal changes follow one of two paths. Some countries move from decriminalization of same-sex behavior to the adoption of laws pertaining to discrimination in economic activities, such as employment and public accommodations. And some countries move from decriminalization to the adoption of laws pertaining to family recognition and parenting. I hope you all haven't gone off to sleep, because I was told that I have to speak for 15 minutes. So I made my talk long enough for 15 minutes. So I hope everybody is listening. So Both paths can lead to fuller legal inclusion, where policies include LGBT people in employment, non-discrimination policies and public accommodations, family recognition policies, including legal same-sex couple recognition and adoption, and military service. You know, people are excluded from all these perks. So in countries where freedom of the press is greater, the relationship between acceptance and legal inclusiveness is stronger. In countries with the lowest levels of press freedom, the relationship does not exist. So countries with a strong rule of law have a stronger relationship between LGBT acceptance and LGBT inclusive policies. This relationship does not exist in countries with weaker rule of law. Countries with the weakest rule of law are also the most likely not to have any LGBT inclusive policies. And the most abhorrent practice is, I'm coming to something very important. This is the conversion therapy. We try to convert our children. If we feel they are somebody different to the norm, we try our best to convert them. But we have to be very careful, because this can amount to torture and should be banned, say UN experts. And they call on states to work together to institute a global ban on practices of conversion therapy. It's abhorrent. The experts added that these practices are inherently discriminatory, that they are cruel, inhuman, and degrading treatments, and that depending on the severity of physical or mental pain and suffering inflicted on the victim, they may amount to, as I said earlier, torture. Conversion therapy describes interventions that try to achieve a change in a person's sexual orientation or gender identity, and thus claim to aim at changing people from gay, lesbian, or bisexual to heterosexual. Practices of conversion therapy are rooted in the belief that persons of different sexual orientation and gender identity are somehow inferior, either morally, spiritually, or physically, because of their orientation or identity, and that they must modify that orientation or identity to remedy that inferiority. There were three main approaches in the practices of conversion therapy. One was the psychotherapeutic interventions based on the belief that sexual or gender diversity stems from an abnormal upbringing or experience. Then there were medical practices rooted in the theory that sexual or gender diversity is an inherent biological dysfunction. And the third was faith-based interventions that act on the premise that there is something inherently evil in diverse sexual orientations and gender identities. All three wrong. Then acts of physical, psychological, and sexual abuse, electrocution and forced medication, isolation and confinement, verbal abuse and humiliation are all examples of methods applied to attempt conversions. Interventions can also rely on pharmaceutical approaches such as medication, surgery, hormone, or steroid therapy. We subject our children to so much torture. Then victims of conversion therapy can also be submitted to a spiritual advisor and subjected to programs to overcome their so-called condition. Such programs can include anti-gay slurs, beatings, shackling, food deprivation, and even exorcisms. Practices of conversion therapy are not only ineffective, but they can also be extremely harmful. They often lead to pain and suffering, leaving indelible scars on a person's body and mind. The combined efforts of feeling powerless and extremely humiliated generate profound feelings of shame, guilt, self-disgust, and worthlessness, which can result in a damaged self-image and enduring personality changes. Private and public mental health care providers, faith-based organizations, traditional healers, and state agents have been identified as the perpetrators of conversion therapies. Those who promote those so-called therapies include family and community members, political authorities, and other agents. So state officials such as judges or police officers may order conversion therapy even when not explicitly stipulated by law. It is also done through public policy. There are examples of countries that have adopted plans to curb behaviors perceived as immoral, including same-sex behavior, and specifically promote practices of conversion therapy, including through university programs. So we have to be very aware of all this. What we teach our children, it's up to us trustees and the principals to realize first, are we doing what is right or are we doing what is wrong? So I'm so glad, Dr. Nilima, you broached this topic. So for the experts here, it is important to know that children and young people are particularly vulnerable, as early exposure to such interventions is associated with anxiety, depression, post-traumatic stress disorder, and even suicide attempts. The decision to subject a child to conversion practices can never truly be in conformity with a child's best interests. Parents must realize its inability to actually achieve conversion and the mounting evidence pointing towards its long-term physical and psychological harm. So I think this is going on too long. So I'll quickly come to section 377 and the biases against sexual minorities in India. It's so good that section 377 earlier, it was scrapped, and then again it came back into force, but then finally on the 6th of September 2018, it has again been scrapped. So it is a big relief to the disadvantaged communities. And who are we to decide what is right and what is wrong? We are not judges. We cannot decide for ourselves because social norms keep changing. In the final analysis, we must listen to what our inner voice tells us. It is a compass that never points in the wrong direction. So in India, we always greet people with a namaste. Namaste has a very deep meaning. It means that we are two divine souls coming together. I see the divinity in you. You see the divinity in me. There's nothing else I see in you, and neither should you see in me. And the pressure points of the fingers, when they come together, this goes straight to the memory zone in the brain. So when you do this, you remember this forever, that we should, by saying a namaste, we celebrate the divinity in each other, and we should learn to be tolerant about each other's likes and dislikes. We must teach our children love. If we don't, someone else will teach them hate. There should not be stereotypes at all. And media should also be educated, because it's the media that creates stereotypes. And education is the key. As educationists, we should all remember that we hold a very important position, and it's we who are going to create the future, which could be either of love, understanding, and compassion, or it could be a future of hatred and divisive forces. If only we have a common denominator that binds us together, we'll forget about our orientation, whether we are Hindus, Muslims, Christians, or any community, or any religion, any caste or culture. The common denominators are, of course, education. If we are all educated in the right way, we will all have a future generation of right-minded people, full of love and compassion. We focus on the environment because, you know, what's happening. Corona is a very good teacher. I would say Corona should receive the Best Teachers Award, because we are all going through a deep introspection now. We are, you know, talking to ourselves and asking what really is important. Are all these things so important, the things that make us, divide us and make us feel different from the other? Is this really important? Why can't we all be together as one and work towards the betterment of our planet? And with these words, I hope Justice Gokhale would always remember me. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for giving your insights, for telling students how to be humane, how to love. We sure will value and keep all of your advice in our minds. Thank you so much, ma'am. With that, we have come to the end of the event, and I would like to formally propose the vote of thanks. Gratitude is not the greatest of your virtues, but it is the parent of all virtues. I now take this opportunity to thank all those who have made this event a success. On behalf of Nari Gursahani Law College, I now take this opportunity to extend our heartfelt gratitude to Honorable Justice H.L. Gokhale for accepting our invite and guiding all of us with his kind words. Thank you so much, sir, for inspiring us. I would also thank the patrons of HSNC Board, Dr. Niranjan Hiranandani, Mr. Anil Harish, Mr. Kishu Mansukhani, and Mrs. Shahani for their constant support and encouragement. Listening to all of you, we all will have a better approach towards the competition as well as our lives. I We are extremely grateful to the Nari Gopi Hardasmal Gursahani Foundation for sponsoring the cash prizes. They have been lending this gracious support to us every single year. Miss Shakuntala Gursahani and Mrs. Hani Harish, the angelic daughters of Dada Nari, and the entire family of Dada, I would like to thank you all for always having our backs and being the reason of our strength. We are indeed blessed to have your support. I would also acknowledge my thankfulness for all the judges who have spared the time to judge the following competition. I extend heartfelt gratitude to the principal of HR College for giving us this stable platform, and to Dhruvi, Harsh, Shubham, and Kanish for their technical support. I thank all the participants and all the audience members, because without you all, this wouldn't have become a success. Taste the relish to be found in competition, in having put forth the best within you. With these words of Henry Kesar, I wish all the participants a very best of luck. Thank you.
Thank you all very, very much. First, we can close the meeting.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you, Mahmood. Yes.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.